Hi, this is Maurizio from Kataklysm, and you're listening to Sonic Perspectives.
Hello and welcome to another interview from Sonic Perspectives. My name is Samantha Buckman, and today I am here with Maurizio of Kataklysm to discuss the band's upcoming 14th studio album, Unconquered. Considering that this is the band's 14th studio album, the title Unconquered is certainly fitting. What really has been keeping you engaged and inspired with the band for all this time?
It's a good question. It's like, we started this when we were in high school, a long time ago, and we were teenagers, and we started this band, and we're going on our 30th anniversary, which will be next year. And we just felt that the title Unconquered was very fitting with what's going on with the band and everything that we've been through over the last 3 decades. And, we've seen so much stuff and so many different style of music come and go. Fact that we still were able to, stay afloat all these years and still be relevant and reinventing ourselves like we've been doing. I think it's a fitting title for that, so that's pretty much the idea behind the title Unconquered for this record, and especially now with this crazy pandemic, it kind of makes it even more fitting, with what's going on.
And so what are the main sounds and styles that listeners can expect to hear in this album? And how do they tie into that theme?
Well, we've upgraded our sound on this record. We went from a 6-string to a 7-string guitar and 4-string bass to 5, and it amplified the sound a lot. It changed a little bit of our dynamics. This record is way more aggressive than what we've done previously. It has a really aggressive undertone, and it's also been produced by Colin Richardson in the UK, which is like a legendary producer that came out of retirement to do this record for us. He really liked the demo tracks he heard. So we've been lucky on that end, and it's just that we were very focused when we came into this record. This record was done last year, and the end of last year. And then was delivered in early this year in January, and then this whole thing happened, and we kind of got delayed in our tracks a little bit. But in the end, the message is very, very tough on the record. It's a very aggressive album, and but it has a lot of dynamics, so it's very modern, and at the same time, it's got this like consistency for Kataklysm,
So you mentioned that you moved from a 6-string to a 7-string and from a 4-string to a 5-string. How would you say this changed the dynamic of the songwriting and making music?
It definitely changes the way you write, because when you're writing something like, we've been doing all these years, we're used to a certain thing, and to go and change it like that, it changes the dynamics of the sound, and that, it changes the way you write as well a little bit. So, but this is something my guitar player wanted to do. He wanted to upgrade the sound and wanted to change a few things around. When you've been around so long, like Kataklysm, it's hard to change something and then piss off all the other people that have been following you for all these years. So we had to be careful on how we maneuvered this, So I think we did a good job at modernizing our sound, modernizing everything, and then keeping things the way they are as far as like the core values of what Kataklysm is.
Which song would you say is like the most ambitious or the furthest away from what people would traditionally consider Kataklysm to be?
I would think maybe the last song, When It's Over, because it almost has like this type of, it's obviously death metal and real heavy and everything, but it has a little bit of the stoner edge to it. It's kind of like, it's got that grooviness and it could almost be a stoner song, but it's a total death metal track. So I think that one is kind of like, going somewhere else. And then also Icarus Falling, the one that's right before with the piano playing in it. I think that's kind of uncharacteristic for a band like Kataklysm or our style to do stuff like that. So there's a few experimental things going on the record that are very different.
How did your last album, Meditations, set up for Unconquered? And what did you take from that album for this experience?
Right, and that's a good question because there is a big difference between both of them, and the last record. There's two different things. Like first of all, obviously the it was written with a 6-string guitar, so you'll have a more thinner, more clear type of sound and all that, no matter what. But on Meditations, we worked together as a team. We were four guys, so you had four heads getting onto the record. And I think what happened is you have songs that are super strong and then songs that are pulling to a different direction a little bit on that record, because when you have four people pulling and tugging in different directions, you have a type of album that sometimes is not consistent across the board. I'm not saying I didn't like the record, or anything like that. I think the record did really well for us. Meditations was a very strong Kataklysm record, but you could feel that there's some songs that are so far apart from others that it doesn't flow, let's say, as consistently as this one. This one, me and JF took the reins on it like we used to write back in the day, and we kind of like came back to our roots as far as the writing skill. Like if you could feel that when you press play on this record, from the beginning to the end, it all kind of matches together. It all fits in one into the other, and I think that's a massive importance for us coming onto this record. And obviously the sound difference and the way we approach this record is different.
What are the main themes that tie this album together, and what are the concepts that kind of back it?
Well, it's this record. It's very social based album. It has a very psychological undertone to it, as far as like questioning a lot of things, and it has a very Machiavellian also approach, which is very it's like preparing your revenge after you get hit. I'm the type of person, I'm not going to show you my right cheek if you hit me in the left. I'm going to fight back. And that's just the way I am, as my character is built like that. And so it kind of reflects that on the songwriting, lyrical content and all that. So it's very modern as far as like social themes and, let's say, things that happen internally. It's not about politics. There's nothing political about this record or anything like that. We stay away from that. This is really more an in-depth look inside your soul, and like what's going on, when you step onto the street and what happens with your life. So basically that's what the record is really on the undertone of it is about.
And with that said, which of the songs do you connect to most personally as an artist?
I was really aggressive when I came into this record, so I had like pretty much it was a bit one-dimensional as far as the idea behind it. Lyrically, I was very angry when I did this record. A few things happened that pissed me off a little bit, and I kind of took. To me, music's therapeutic. I use it as my release, and basically it's like. I took it by the horns, and I think a song like Focus to Destroy You, that was a song that I think I would attach myself to it a lot on this album. And it's just the way back home too it's a track that it's like you have to find your way back to where you come from sometimes, and then do the right thing into fixing the problems, and then I think that's another song I relate to a lot. So it's a journey, the record for me is a journey, and it's like I think a lot of people can relate to it.
When you first started writing this album, did you kind of have it set in your mind where you wanted to go either thematically or with the sound, or was that something that you worked out as you went along?
We obviously wanted to have something that matches the idea of the lyrics, because, like as I said, it was a very aggressive type of undertaking. When we came in, we were like, this is how we feel. And then my guitar player, which is the main writer, he came in with these riffs that were just like super heavy, and everything just came together like a puzzle real quick. It wasn't one of those tough puzzles where you're taking forever to put together. It just came together quickly, and it was kind of like meant to be that way. So it flowed right into each other. So I think the lyrics and the music go hand in hand on this one.
So when did you actually start the writing and then the recording for this album?
We started last summer, 2019, around August, I believe, and then we were done by November with it. And we were checking out mixes from the road in December, I remember. And then in February, we were shooting our video for the Kill Shot, the first single. And then as soon as we were done with that, like literally a week later, the whole country got shut down. So basically, we were in Atlanta when that happened, and And it's been like, kind of a rough ride since then. But I mean, it's one of those things where, the whole record was already done. The title Unconquered was already done. Label wanted to push the record into 2021, and we thought it was too far, and we didn't want to gamble anything. I think this is a time for people to get music. This is something that people need right now, and we felt it was the right time to just release record music now and not wait, because to sell a few more records, we don't care about that.
So you mentioned that you filmed the music video for the Kill Shot kind of right before everything started happening. So has there been any other plans for like production and release that didn't get to be followed through because of restrictions?
Yeah, basically we were supposed to get the record out, and it was supposed to come out originally in July. And because of it got postponed to October. And then they were really impressed with the record, the label, and they were like, you know what, let's not gamble this album. It's a really strong record. Let's put it out in early 2021. And we were like, that's way too far. Record's already going to be a year old. It was like, that doesn't make sense. And there's no reason not to release music right now. Even if, we couldn't, because we can't store it in a few stores, we didn't care about that. But the main focus was, the reason why it was really delayed in the first place, it was just because the shutdown enabled the label to even produce CDs or vinyl. So basically, we wouldn't have had any product if we would have stuck with the idea we had of releasing it in July. So basically, we ended up putting a little forward in September, end of September to September 25th. And, and everything's rolling as planned. The CDs are produced. Everything's good.
So I definitely want to talk a little bit about your single, The Kill Shot. So how did you end up choosing this song to be the first single? What about it really stood out as a strong contender for that first single?
I mean, the title is awesome. I think it's like, on point. And I think the song is very complete. It's got everything going on in it. It's got a good chorus. It's got a, real good groove-oriented beat in it, and it's got the extremity that Kataklysm's known for. So it has a very complete feel to it. Now, does it represent the entire record the way it is? I'm not sure it does. It does represent, in a general aspect, all the elements of Kataklysm is known for, and I think that was the right decision as far as releasing that as a first single. But there's a lot of different type of musical taste going on this record and flavors. So it's a bit different from one song to another. So you really have to kind of listen to at least 3 or 4 tracks to have the idea, at least half of it, to get the idea of what the record is, because it does move around a little bit.
And one of the first things I noticed, aside from the sound of it being very heavy and very aggressive, is how theatric the actual music video itself is. There's a very large story attached, a lot of production that went into it. So could you talk a little bit about the story in the music video and just how you actually were able to film it?
Yeah. Oh, well, we were, like I said before, in the rural area of Atlanta, and we used Scott Hansen to do the videos, like really cool, and a dude that just really knows his shit when it comes to, shooting videos and stuff like that, and movies, like short movies and all that. The idea behind it is very open. In this specific concept, it's something bad happens to somebody that trusted somebody, and then in the end decides to take, they calculate their revenge years later and then execute their revenge. Pretty much, it's very Machiavellian as far as the concept is concerned. Now, we chose that subject because it's something that's sensitive and that does exist a lot. More and more people coming forward with stuff. But in the end, it's open for interpretation. If you read the lyrics, it doesn't come directly into a concept. It's something that you can attach your own personal beliefs and stories in it, and then with that you can, find your own way in the song, So basically it does come from a personal space, but it is open for anybody to kind of attach their own story to it.
And now, speaking of the art that's attached to Unconquered, the cover art for this album includes the beast with the heart that was found on 3 of your earlier album covers. So what was the decision to bring this imagery back, and what does it necessarily represent for both the album and the band?
Well, he was, the Heart Beast is kind of our mascot, and we had him for, I think, a decade between 3 records. and we kind of killed him off on an album called Heaven's Venom. He disappeared for a while after that. We did some experimental artwork after that, like in a couple of our albums. But then we felt it was time, right now, since we're approaching the 30th anniversary of the band, the title called Unconquered, just the idea that's behind this album was so aggressive. We felt like this is the time to bring the inner beast back out, and we thought it was a good idea to kind of bring him back, but in a more modernized fashion. Like, he's really like 3D. Like if you look closely, it's like he's almost alive, and it's like we used Blake Armstrong to do the artwork. He's a great artist that does some DC comics, and he also did the Last in Flames record. And I think he's really, really cool at what he does. So we're very happy to have him on board in this record.
So I guess speaking of the band's upcoming 30th anniversary, how have you, considering that there have been the lineup has been very stable for most of the band's life. So how have you seen yourselves change as artists and I guess progress over the band's lifespan?
That's one of the things that's been our strong point, I have to admit, for a long time, especially between myself and my guitar player, my bass player. Of us three especially have been together for over 20 something years, and me and my guitar player since the beginning. So you have that type of foundation that's very strong in the front. We've always kind of came in and out with drummers, although Oli's been around now for I think 4 records for us. It's one of those things where it's like marriage, right? You're with somebody, and then sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it works out for the long haul. But in music, you spend more time with the dudes that you're touring with, with your guys in your band, than you do sometimes with your own family. Especially a band like Kataklysm that, we got signed. I believe I was 18 years old or 17 years old when I got my record deal. And I mean, I haven't stopped, you're talking like I was 16. Yeah. And it's 30 years later, it's kind of crazy to see that, you're still doing this, and so you spend a lot of time with these guys out there. So, you have to have a good relationship between each other to be able to sustain everything, that's going on, because there's a lot of change of mentality and all this stuff. So it's cool, we have a solid foundation that's been strong with us, and the fans, I think, it like that.
So in a perfect world, obviously a non-pandemic world, how would you want to celebrate the band's 30th anniversary? Like, what is that thing that you've been planning or kind of holding on to for that?
It's got to be concerts, right? So it's like it's always been our strong voice, has been playing live. Kataklysm has always been a live band more than it is actually a recording band. And because we translate these songs way better when we play them live. So basically that's a big hole right now that we're facing. And, we just had our last show this year canceled, which was an open air in Switzerland that we were headlining, and that just got canceled like 2 days ago. So basically we got nothing for this year, and then we're hoping everything that we had this year's been postponed to next year. Hopefully it happens, but that's the focus. It's to really go out there, promote the record right, and hopefully we're able to do that soon.
What would you be looking to put on that 30th anniversary set list? Is there anything in particular that calls out to you?
Well, there's songs that we have the same problem maybe Slayer has, as far as they got to play Rain and Blood or else people throw bananas at them or something. So we're going to have that type of situation where we got to play certain songs no matter what. But if I do something would be 30th anniversary and with a Kataklysm headlining thing, I'd probably do something where I let the people choose the set list, After all these years, at least we could let them choose everything they want, and then we'll figure it out when we go there, So I would do something special like that, I believe.
And off of Unconquered, which tracks do you think would translate best live? Like, which ones are you most excited about putting out there at a live show?
I think Underneath the Stars is going to be a big song. That's going to be great live. Focus to Destroy You, another big one live. Way Back Home live, another one. Cut Me Down. There's a lot of songs on this record that are kind of built for a live environment. As I said, it's an aggressive record. So if you want to have some sort of an album that's really aggressive, you're going to have to. They definitely have to be played live. So I think there's going to be a lot of songs on this record being played,
So between putting out your 14th album and the 30th anniversary upcoming, And there's still no shortage claims to the name of Kataklysm. You won the 2016 Juno Award with the 2015s of Ghosts and Gods, and you also got Metal Artist of the Year from the Canadian Independent Music Awards a while back. So all of that considered and just how much the band has accomplished, what would make Unconquered a success in your books?
It's just at this point in our career, it's just, releasing the record, having your fans love it and appreciate it and understanding what you did and really going out there and them coming up to show up and supporting it. I don't think, we won what you call like this is our Grammy in Canada. It's called the Junos, and it's like we won a Grammy award pretty much for in our career. So that part is done. We've toured with some of the bands that we worshipped growing up, and we've done that as well. We didn't get the chance to tour with a band like that I would have loved to tour with like Pantera, because, they're no longer around. But Slayer we've played with Metallica as well. So we've done a lot of great stuff. So it's more about challenging ourselves right now and doing better and better, and then just going out there and seeing our fans. We're happy with just doing that right now.
And speaking of challenging yourself as an artist, I know that Kataklysm isn't your only project. You also have your side project, XDO. So how have you been balancing those commitments? And a while back, you were talking about, more music from that side project. So what's that looking like at the moment?
We were supposed to start writing something in the fall going into next year for that. And obviously with this thing going on, we have a lot more time. So we're actually 3/4 into writing the new album. So we should be done with it by September this year. And next month we should be pretty in good shape to have it almost all done. So it's called the 13 Years of Nero. It's going to be about Emperor Nero and all this twisted stuff, and it's pretty cool. It's a very dark record, and the way it's shaping up to be. It's all concept. All the songs are concept around the team, and so basically that's coming out. We hope spring next year, early spring. So let's see how that goes. So that's cool because we're going to have a new Kataklysm out. We're going to have a new XDO record out. I'm also starting to work on a solo album that I'm going to be doing at the end of this year. It's like an autobiographic type of record. It's going to be a one-time thing. I'm going to do this record, and I think that's going to be, I'm going to be busy for a while, and then I'm going to have a lot of time to support it, hopefully.
So between what sounds like upcoming solo work, your side project, and obviously the very intense obligations to Kataklysm, where do you find yourself most inspired, musically or otherwise?
Well, it's actually going to be three different things. Although the solo thing will be closer to Kataklysm as far as lyrics are concerned, because it's going to be from a personal place, but it's going to be more detailed and more about, really around, my upbringing and where I'm at now and everything and all the things I've been through in my life. So that's going to be very more an in-depth look. Kataklysm is more open. Like I said before, I write it in a poetic way that it's like, you could put your own ideas to it. And XDO is just historic. So basically it's all about the Roman Empire. So that part has a very historic type of feeling to it. And that is also super engaging for me because I am a huge history buff, and I love anything that's ancient Rome. So I think that has a passion which is different than Kataklysm, which, like I said, Kataklysm is more therapeutic. It's more street fighting. It's two different things. But I find inspiration in all of it.
Have you been keeping up with any new big releases that you're looking forward to this year from other bands, or any albums that have already been released this year that you've really found impressive?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of records that got released that I liked. I liked that Mushroom Head record that came out, was different, and I liked that one, was cool. I'm looking forward to the Carrick Angren that came in, was awesome as well. Very, very cool band, and I'm looking forward to the Unleash the Archers record that's coming out called Abyss. So there's a couple of really cool metal records coming out this year.
Awesome. And is there any big plans for new music from Kataklysm in the future? Where do you think you're going to end up going with that? What's the direction that you think you're going to be looking after Unconquered?
It's going to take a direction. It's going to take a little bit more toward wherever we are with Unconquered, we're going to probably stay in that direction for a little bit. because we're feeling very comfortable with this record, and we like the way it sounds, and we like that direction. So I think we're going to be exploring a little bit more into that world. For when the next record will be out, who knows? But it's going to depend on obviously touring. If we're still stuck with a pandemic in 2-3 years, then we're definitely going to be doing a new record. We just can't stay without doing anything. So we'll see how the world goes.
Yeah. Well, no one knows, right?
Right.
Well, thank you so much for your time and insights. I'm really looking forward to the album's release.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to do this with me.
Sure thing. Take care.
Ciao.
You just heard an interview with Maurizio from Kataklysm. For more interviews like this one and much more, make sure to follow Sonic Perspectives on Facebook and Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel. To close out today, we will be playing the first single from Unconquered. This is The Kill Shot.